Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with the Attack Line for Wednesday, August 29, 2012. And you know what this day means? It's Michael Jackson's birthday. What would have been his birthday? He would have been 54 years old today if he was still alive. Of course, we all know his story. Born in this day in 1958, died in 2009 on June 25th with cardiac arrest induced by drugs given to him by his doctor, Conrad Murray. He is and still is one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, despite him being dead for 3 years. Biggest selling album, Thriller, and this year honors the 25th anniversary of Bad. It was the anniversary yesterday of the actual release. To honor that, and also Michael's birthday, Pepsi will end their summer concert series, highlighted by performances from Katy Perry back in July, Nicki Minaj 2 weeks ago. We'll end that series with a performance tonight, with a couple artists including Neo, among others, to perform in New York to honor Michael's birthday, and of course, also the anniversary of Bad, which of course Pepsi's been celebrating with contests and of course collectible cans. I showed you mine that I got a few months ago on this show, The Attack Line. And also here they're going to have a Bad documentary coming out in a couple of weeks, premiering in Toronto and London. Of course, Bad 25 documentary made by Spike Lee. The album reissue comes out September 18th. With that in mind, happy birthday, would-be birthday to the king, Michael fucking Jackson, boy. Now, on with your Billboard #1s. Well, we have a new #1 album, still #1 singles on country and pop. Starting with your new #1 album, 2 Chainz gets kicked off by another R&B hip-hop artist, Trey Songz, getting his first #1 album with his album Chapter 5, selling only 150,000. Not bad for Trey Songz, even though his songs have been attacked as much on the pop charts as his last album did with the hit Bottoms Up. But as I mentioned, still #1 singles on the country and pop, starting with 2nd weeks in a row for Blake Shelton's Over, #1 on country. And yes, still #1 on pop for the 2nd week in a row, Taylor Swift's We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Just in time, the video premieres tomorrow on MTV, CMT, T-Nick. Basically, all the MTV old channels are simulcasting the world premiere of Taylor's We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Of course, Taylor Swift set to perform at the VMAs. And I got some VMA updates in a few moments. But even though Taylor's a pop star somewhat, she started up as country. Of course, a lot of country music award news over the last couple of days. A week from today, the CMAs will announce their nominations, presented by Lady Antebellum and Jason Aldean on Good Morning America next Wednesday morning. The rest will be announced in Nashville at another press conference, but the CMA nominations will be announced next week. While that's happening, another award show, which won't be until next spring, has announced their hosts yet again. Like the CMAs continuing the trend of keeping hosts more than 1 year in a row, like Carrie and Brad hosting for 5 years, the Academy of the American Country Music Awards are hoping to have that same tradition by having the same hosts every year, by announcing that Trace Atkins and Kristen Chenoweth, who hosted this past year's ACMAs, will be hosting again in 2013. I think Trace is hosting for the 3rd straight year, but it'll be the 2nd straight year to be hosting with Kristen Chenoweth. So there you go, ACMAs, probably going to be happening sometime in May, but it'll be a little higher rating. I saw that one this year was okay. So we'll see what happens next with the ACMAs. So ACMAs announced the hosts again, and CMAs set to announce the nominations 1 week from today, September the 5th. Now on with another award show news, VMAs. Now I mentioned on Monday on the Attack Line that Frank Ocean and Rihanna has been added as performers as well as more presenters. Well, details were announced yesterday about the pre-show, which will start at 7. Performers on that will be Demi Lovato, who's nominated for Best Video with a Message for her song Skyscraper, and Calvin Harris, who's nominated for Best Electronic Dance Music Video for Feel So Close. So those two have been confirmed for the pre-show, as well as another category being announced, presented by Bing, the Most Share-Worthy Award. A video shared by a lot of people, covers or whatever, tweeting it to people. Now, people have been tweeting their votes for this category. The nominees for that, for Most Share-Worthy Video, are Beyonce's Countdown, Justin Bieber's Boyfriend, Gaultier, Somebody That I Used to Know, Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe, and One Direction's What Makes You Beautiful. Now, One Direction and Justin Bieber are neck and neck in this category, as this is the only one you can actually check the percentages on who's winning the poll right now. And right now, One Direction and Justin is neck and neck. They're splitting the lead, so there you go. Speaking of One Direction, I also mentioned on Monday that One Direction announced details for their sophomore album. They announced Monday their new single, entitled Live While We're Young, coming out on October the 1st, and getting big pre-orders for a single. Well, they didn't announce until today the name of their second album. The name of the second album, which Live While We're Young will be on, will be titled Take Me Home, following the huge success of Up All Night. Band member Louis announced it on his Twitter page, saying, "Can't wait for you to hear it. More news soon." A specific release date has not been announced yet. They're aiming at November for the album Take Me Home, the first single. They're shooting the video, or they shot it earlier this week for Live While We're Young, like I said, coming out October 1st. So they go 1D, new album, Take Me Home, coming out in November. New single, as I mentioned on Monday, comes out October 1st, Live While We're Young. Speaking of living while they're speaking of people trying to live like they are young again, Madonna kicked off the United States leg of the MDNA tour last night in Philly, following a couple months in Europe plagued by controversies, including controversial images, a short show in Paris, and showing her booming ass during several shows. But the show in Philadelphia was somewhat controversy-free. But indeed, Madonna made a speech about appreciating your freedom, of course, being back in America and not being somewhat chastised for controversies, especially supporting Pussy Riot, among other things Madonna has done in Europe, since America is somewhat the home of the free. She, of course, made a speech last night that said that the crowd should never forget how lucky you are to live where you live and have the freedoms that you have. She made her comments after talking about the arrest of 3 female punk rockers from Russia, of course, like I mentioned, Pussy Riot. Of course, Madonna performed mostly the same set list as she had done during the European leg, not adding any changes to the lineup. Like I said, mostly the same set list, adding, of course, doing Lady Gaga, doing Express Yourself. That's what it was, mostly the same set list as in Europe, but maybe she'll improvise the set list down the line. Of course, it's only the first show in Philly, as Madonna will zigzag across America for the next couple months, including stopping Detroit in November, before ending in December in South America, and not going to Australia as previously announced. She did apologize for that this past Monday with an audio apology, saying that her commitment to her kids is always her top priority. So there you go, Madonna kicks off MDNA tour, US leg in Philly. Now, on with some wrestling news, some controversial wrestling news. As we saw this past Monday on Raw, CM Punk was in a steel cage match. The best thing about that was CM Punk allegedly bleeding when he got nailed in the cage, banged in the cage by Jerry the King Lawler. He was seen bleeding. I didn't see that, but I need to see that again. But apparently, CM Punk is explaining it and getting fined $500,000 for bleeding on screen and bleeding this past Monday on Raw. That's TVPG for you. CM Punk tweeted about it, saying that $500,000 fine, drop in the bucket of blood. And yes, I have more power than you could ever imagine. I paid Charles Robinson fine. That Charles Robinson got fined too. That's kind of weird. That Punk and Charles Robinson, the referee in the match, got fined. It stated that both men got fined. He got stapled in his head, and the blood was real. And of course, people saying that Punk's got enough power to get away with that. Even though he got fined, he did somewhat get away with getting bladed on screen despite getting, like I said, fined for it. At least it was kind of a, almost, So there you go. CM Punk blades himself, gets fined. That his control status was able to get away with making a decision like this. Apparently, he didn't get somewhat, like it did somewhat punished by the company. But seriously, this is how WWE's not gotten. That you have to fine someone for blading and making themselves bleed on, well, basically on TV. That's how weird it's gotten. Then it goes with the whole Saturday morning slam getting, pun slammed by many people by being boring because of the whole no neck and back moves policy on it. This is how WWE's gotten. This is why WWE sucks somewhat. And like I said on Raw, it was an unexciting Raw besides somewhat the main event with Punk and Jerry Lawler. Boring to start with, but I guess at the ending with Punk relating himself was awesome. Fuck TVPG in my mind. Like I said, Punk gets fined for that. It's kind of stupid. But bleeding on TV, you get fined for it. 500,000. Give me a fucking break. That's TVPG for you. That is it for the attack line for today. I'll see you all later. Then bye. You've been attacked by the news from Zach. Thank you very much. See you all later. Yeah.